REMSCO order. I would like to start by requesting a moment of silence for Rich Beatty. I sent out an email to everybody today. Mark Tuttle started bringing Rich up to this area in 2003, one of the first spring flings. He was instrumental working with Dan on setting up the core content, and he always gets rave reviews when we review the comments that people get back from spring fling. And he's going to be sending this. So if we could have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Does anybody have an objection if we go out of order and let Dale Barker talk about Believe NNY first and then go back to our agenda so that we don't have to hold him up? Is everybody okay with that?
Stay here until the end. Dale, go first.
Well, I don't know.
Hurry up before we change your mind. Hurry up before we change your mind, Dale.
Unfortunately, yeah, exactly.
You want to make sure that you are awake and then fall asleep later on.
Well, my computer's sleeping.
Tough crowd,
Technical issues.
That's how I was expecting.
That's why I grabbed something with sugar in it.
Sir?
All right. Well, thank you first of all, Deb, for allowing me to come in and speak to everybody. For those who don't know me, most everybody in the room does, from one aspect or another. My name is Dale Barker. I'm with Everett Fire and Rescue, and now the CEO, founder of Believe NNY, in conjunction with multiple teams from multiple counties, and I'll get into a little detail with that. What I'm here to do is talk a little bit about talk about what we're trying to do. The mission statement for Believe NNY is to offer financial assistance for housing, mileage, resource material, contacts for the volunteer, firefighter, EMTs, auxiliary members, and we are even increasing that to benevolence or associated members. For Clinton, Essex, Franklin, Hamilton, Jefferson, Lewis, and St. Lawrence, and hopefully Oswego County also, all depending on if they're interested in coming on board. This is for those individuals that might be suffering a life threat or even cancer. For those who are unaware of my story, I was diagnosed with cancer, kidney cancer, back in February. And the benefit to that was I got a lot of assistance from fire and EMS, and I mean a lot of assistance. This kind of brought some things forward. The Believe 271 of the United Herkimer area is the same type of organization, which has now helped, Larry, you said 29?
29, I talked to a board member the other day.
Well over $51,000 they dished out to help individuals in the fire service. Now this is not just firefighters, this is EMS also. And I want to focus that around, this group here to kind of spread the word out for us on the EMS side of it. So I'll let the video play if you can see that all right. It should forward. It was.
We can change the lighting if you want.
Help someone and want you to be a part of this. You go in for the excitement of, I'm going to help somebody after that, to be a part of this.
Sorry about that, you guys.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, you standing in front of it.
Now mine.
You're in front of the screen.
What shows up there doesn't show on my screen. That was the problem, so I opened it twice. So. It would be me.
If you can't fix it, I got a hammer in the truck. That's what I usually use.
There's no feeling like putting on full turnout gear and investigating, or working fire.
Must be running in the background.
I'm not gonna say it's a fascination.
What you want to do?
You're out there beating something. You know, you're not giving up. You're not gonna let it beat you. It's a challenge.
You go in for the excitement of, you know,
So now it's showing on my screen and not up there.
It's a demon.
While we're waiting for that, if anybody else, if anybody wants more copies of the brochure, I've got more copies. The white ones are the same as the orange ones. You want to have something to take back to apartments or other areas.
there's no feeling like putting on full turnout gear and investigating, going into a working fire.
It's not fighting. They call it the Red Devil. And I'm not gonna say it's a fascination. You're out there beating something. You know, and you're not giving up. You're not gonna let it beat you. It's a challenge.
You go in for the excitement of, you know, I'm going to help somebody, I'm going to be a part of this.
I'm recognized as somebody that's lived here, and it's reassuring to them that we're doing everything that we can.
The beauty of being a firefighter is not only the fact that you go out the door on that fire truck and you fight that fire. To be able to go back and help someone in the community and to know that that person's going to be able to enjoy themselves and live their lives to the fullest because of something that we have done.
As long as you get the video.
I believe it began one day when I came home from school and I found the fire department in front of my home. I always wanted to be a volunteer firefighter. I was mentored by a gentleman down the street when I used to live in Yorkville, New York. I started off in the juniors when I was 16. It was kind of just a lot of friends joined. And from that point on, just stayed involved.
It's always been in my life. I've always heard about Lake Delta. My grandma had a scanner. When the sirens went off, we were quiet. All my friends, my family all belonged to the fire service. And I wanted to do something to give back to the organization.
My husband always said, you know, there's always something for somebody to do in the fire service, even if you carry tools. Well, my daughter was going through fire training, so I went to fire training with her, and it was just great. It was very empowering.
You go to, when people are having their lunch day, and the fire service is able, in most cases, to take that bad day, take away the problem.
Just that, the look in their eyes of you just helping them.
You're not just an individual, you're a team. I'm not a good volunteer firefighter by myself, but being surrounded by a group of 62 members, that's the key.
Everything that came along, I went to, and I just was very passionate about learning as much as I could to help out the community.
A lot of people out there need some help. Not everybody does help. You know, and it's a very small percentage of the people that are out there, especially volunteering, to help the community, to help your fellow man. I'm fighting.
I am fighting. I am fighting.
I am fighting.
I am fighting.
I'm fighting prostate cancer,
Uterine cancer, the chronic form of leukemia.
medullary thyroid cancer,
Esophageal cancer.
non-Hodgkin's B-cell lymphoma.
Firefighters face many physical challenges in the course of their work. Whether they're paid or not, they're exposed
exposed to the same toxins. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has declared firefighting work as possibly carcinogenic. Our study of San Francisco firefighters in 2013 was extremely extensive. We looked at hundreds of chemicals in the blood after fire event in firefighters, and what that showed was, indeed, firefighters have high levels of many kinds of carcinogens in the blood after firefighting. That was the first time that anyone knew how many chemicals are actually accumulating in the body from firefighting. These exposures, whether you're paid or a volunteer, are the same. In New York State, there's a cancer presumption bill that covers paid firefighters. It's time to reconsider this bill to include volunteer firefighters. After all, volunteer firefighters are risking their health every day, just like career firefighters.
My doctor called myself home. When the doctor calls yourself home at 7 o'clock at night, tell you to give him a call back. You know it's not good.
I knew that I was sick. I knew deep down inside something was wrong. And when she looked at that blood work and listed these things, which they were all cancers. They were cancers, they were leukemias. I knew something bad was going to happen.
It's not like what you think. You know, you don't go to the doctor's office and they sit you down and bring you, coffee and milk and so forth. He just said that I had esophageal cancer and that they have to look at the options.
On December 24th, the results came back that I had non-Hodgkin's B-cell lymphoma the day before Christmas. Never did I realize that I was going to have cancer. I was a big advocate of getting my physicals and making sure that I was in top shape to do firefighting. And then when I was diagnosed, it was like someone pulled the rug from under me. I sat down and I said to myself, how did this happen? And I didn't know.
Like the weight of the world is coming down on my shoulders. I sat at my mother's bedside. She had pancreatic cancer and I held her hand during her last breath. And all I could think was how sick my mom got. And I wasn't ready to go through that. Okay, I have CML. Oh, that L stands for leukemia. Whoa. Leukemia is cancer. I have cancer. At 32 years old, I have cancer.
The support that I got the next morning that I knew that Tony Cruz and Ronnie Ross of the firefighter support, cancer support network, were going to be there. And I went downstairs and I got it. It was a little tough. It was a little tough. You start thinking about how am I going to break this news to the family?
And when you tell people you have cancer, people are like, oh, I'm so sorry. They look at you like you're contagious. They treat you different.
Being a volunteer firefighter, the dream that I had of helping people was actually possibly going to be building. We're in the jury, salty looking, what we call in the service, salty looking.
So, my story to add to these ladies and gentlemen, February 18th of this year is diagnosed with kidney cancer. Could the fire service be related to it? Sure. We do overhaul, we're wearing dirty turnout gear, we're wearing hoods, and I'll show you a little bit here, a little slide on some of the exposure areas. One of our concerns is not only do we have the volunteer firefighters, but we have the volunteer EMS agencies also. Some are combined, some are independent. My concern about the independent squads is you guys are coming in, standing by, maybe doing rehab, maybe doing a bunch of other things with the volunteer fire service, and you're grabbing a hold of firefighters that are wearing dirty turnout gear. They're wearing dirty gloves, clothes, all this stuff, and they're being loaded in the back of your ambulance. Our goal is not only to be able to assist, and go to the slide, John, go to be able to assist individuals who are coming down with illnesses, but also create operation guidelines and procedures for deconning on the fire scene prior to those firefighters returning home, or getting into an ambulance to be treated, or getting into a fire truck to go home. Our concerns are is to find a way that we can decon everything that's being done before you take care of them, before they're loaded into a rig, or before they return home to their families. That is one of our goals. On top of being able to assist a number of people throughout the 8 counties. How are we going to do that, you may ask? We're going to be looking into doing some fundraisers and some items like that. Currently, the slate of officers. Myself as CEO, President Danielle Rose from Potsdam Fire Department. Hopkins and Fort Jackson is represented with Ben Wood, who's the Vice President. Dennis Eichhoff from Colton is the Secretary. The Treasurer is Lori Hams from Hannawha Falls. So you see mostly represented there in St. Lawrence County. That's fine. However, there's county representatives. St. Lawrence County's Vinnie Ferry out of Governor Fire. Lewis County, Tom Byer from Casterly. Larry Gerard from Jefferson County. And Larry's looking to get some help, by the way. Franklin County, Richard Bolster from Malone. Hamilton County, Tony Clark from Long Lake. Clinton, Essex, and Oswego have not come on board yet. Doesn't mean they won't. Just I think they're waiting to see what happens. So, you're fine. As we take a look at some of the areas that we're concerned with. This is a gentleman that was wearing turnout gear and wearing clothes underneath the turnout gear, and you can see the ultraviolet areas where he was exposed even after he had had everything taken off. So where are we talking? Respiratory, right? That's a big component. So we're starting to see the esophageal cancers. We're starting to see things that are impacting your respiratory. As you take a look at the center 2 pictures, you're starting now to see it around the abdomen, which now is impacting urinary, pancreatic, kidneys, and a bunch of other things going on there. And then the bottom slide around the knees and the legs. This is becoming an epidemic for us. We're killing our own. And I hate to put it that way, but somebody needs to step up and help ourselves. This organization may not be able to cough up thousands and thousands of dollars to help people, but if we can give a $200 gas card for somebody that's running to Buffalo and back for gas, that's a start. If it's giving a hotel room. When I went down to Syracuse April 18th, I had no clue where I was going to put my family up. If it hadn't been for the Sarah's Guest House in Syracuse, fabulous establishment, we stayed there for free. People don't know about these resources, and this is stuff we are going to put together so that we have that. We currently have an individual on our committee who's on the 501c3 and the fundraising committee who's suffering from breast cancer. Probably going to be one of the first people we try to help. She's taking time to deal with this and give us a hand trying to raise funds. She has, I believe, received her first 15 treatments, and she's going to need some help with travel and all this other stuff. So we're hoping to be able to do that. However, start taking a look at how we're doing things. If we're a joint agency, Loudville is already starting to develop a process. Star Lake is working in it. They bought, Ryan might be able to elaborate a little bit. They worked with Finding Cranberry to get a washer for their station, so when gear comes back, it gets washed immediately. We're not hanging onto this stuff. Where's most everybody store their equipment? In their vehicle. And your family gets exposed to the same stuff we're being exposed to. We need to start taking care of ourselves a little better. The goal behind this is, as we work, and you can go to the next one. We have formed these committees, 501c3. They're meeting tomorrow night to get this process in place so agencies can start donating to us. Companies can start donating funds. Places like down in Herkimer and Hamilton, or Herkimer and Oneida counties, departments are holding fundraisers, and part of their fundraiser goes to the 271, the Believe 271 Foundation. And that's what we're looking to do here. We're not asking every department to chip in, but if you do a fundraiser and you want to give, once this 501c3 is up and running, we would appreciate it. Your people would appreciate it. And it could be any of us sitting around this table tonight that could be reaching out to us, asking for some assistance, and maybe we can do that. And that's our intention and our goal. Fundraising, legislative, special events. We participated in our first parade in West Carthage the other night. Just off the street alone, $120 donated toward the agency. We kicked this off Friday morning, right? Or Friday morning, we raised $2,700 in 4 hours. Obviously, this is meaning something. Departments are chipping in already, and we haven't even got the 501c3 in place yet. But because they're doing it via cash, and we'll deposit it. Once the agency's up and running, we then can start dishing it out. We are taking orders, shirts like Larry and I are wearing, helmet stickers like he's got on his helmet here, and I have here. I talked a little bit about this already. We're talking a little bit about the hood exchange, something simple. The second set of gear, which is tough for small departments like my own, even washers, but like they've done in District 6 up in St. Lawrence County, departments have gone together to do that. So the decals, helmet decals, $5 a piece. Window stickers are 4x4, $10 a piece. Star Lake Fire Department was one of the first ones to jump on board and bought stickers for every truck. Window stickers, helmet stickers. Parisville, Hawkins and Fort Jackson has jumped on this also. One thing that we are looking at trying to do is get everybody in the North Country wearing these helmet stickers to support this. That's our goal. The 4-inch are $10. Then we go to the shirts that we're wearing. Anybody who was at my benefit or may have attended or seen the stuff I put on Facebook, that emblem was created from a young lady in Beaver Falls. Brothers and sisters of the fire service will never walk alone. EMS and EMTs are considered part of that fire service. A lot of those people are joint members in different companies, so we all fit this bill, every single one of us. The shirts are going range, start at $15, 2X at 16, 3X at 18, 4X at 20. And our county reps are going to help us with that. They will have order forms. You can reach out to them. And I have Larry, I believe, handed out information to everybody. Those are some of the things that we're trying to do to help ourselves and help you. So, if Larry has anything to add, I'd let him, because it's Jeff County rep for us.
At this point, we aren't asking for money from this organization. This organization doesn't exist to do stuff like that. But certainly, a note, a vote of confidence, a vote of support, someone else that we could say supports the entire Believe NNY project would be really nice, and take this back to your own departments. As Dale said, even independent EMS is involved with this. I recently read that, I think it was Boston did a study and found that, that the pump operators outside fire sightings were coming back with elevated levels of carbon monoxide in their blood. And if they had that, what else did they have? And these are folks who are on the scene. If it goes the wrong way, now you've got a lung full of good stuff. So, like I say, not looking for money from you folks, obviously, but we are looking for perhaps a vote of support, and that'll be, if you will, a feather in our cap, and proof once again that folks are there. Now, I'll tell you that I believe 271, and by the way, Brian is 271.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a fellow who formed the basis for the Believe 271. It's hard to go to any sort of fire event down in that area of Oneida County without seeing somebody wearing 271. I ran into one at the ice cream stand the other day in Old Forge. So it just says so. But all I can say is, show us, give us your support, take this back to your organizations, take it back to the counties, and we are here for the firefighters. This is not just somebody that wants to raise money for whatever we can do it for. We will be working on a nomination procedure. If you have a firefighter or EMT who needs this support, there will be a procedure for nominating them so that they can get that support. Okay, that's all I've got to say.
So that's what we're here for. And if I can get, like I said, Hamilton County chiefs, St. County chiefs, Jefferson County, and multiple departments have jumped on board. So I'm asking that this group here would put it in motion to support the organization. Maybe draft up or send us a letter just saying that support, and we can add that to the website. And I think that pulls a little bit more from the EMS side for us. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, review of previous minutes and approval. Any changes, additions, modifications to the April 4th minutes?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Mary makes a motion to accept. Dave, you accept it?
Yep.
Dave, Alan seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Treasurer's report, Dave?
Treasurer's report was mailed out this morning. Accounts balance as of last month, so we're good there. And I sent out also a quote from John, our accountant, so we need to take care of that. Need a motion to, my suggestion would be to spend not to exceed $1,200 for the audit, get our taxes done, and get quick set up.
This is going to be a one-time setup for QuickBooks and
Motion made.
Second.
so we have a motion and a second to spend not more than $1,200 for the 2015 audit of the books. Tax preparing, is that what it's federally auditing, it's tax preparing. And the necessary fee for QuickBooks to get set up to keep our records. Any questions?
Does that include the purchase of QuickBooks?
We have.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Where is the software going to reside?
We have a laptop to it all.
You have a laptop, so if something should happen, it can be...
You guys are screwed.
Okay, perfect.
That's a topic for the next meeting.
Yeah, just looking at continuity, so.
That's into the next budget year.
Good question. Make sure we look at up there. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Any questions for Dave on the treasurer's report information he sent out earlier today?
So if you didn't get any of that, send me an email, make sure you're on the list. I just take Kurt and Debbie's, hey, we're having a meeting list, and I send the treasurer's report based on it.
Do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented?
Second.
Mary and Carol? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? At this point, we are going to go around. We have a new face at the table that we want you to meet. And we're going to ask that you use your name and your agency or your county, and then we'll quiz Mike at the end and see if you remember where everybody's from. John?
Hi, we've hired a new assistant for me in terms of finally getting some backfill and all that sort of stuff. Mike Bogozzi is with us tonight, and I just want to introduce you to the group. Mike will be working out of my office extensively, and I know you get sick of Steve Miley puss at these meetings, so now Mike will be here to help out and do some things and get forward.
I'm a paramedic. I trained down in Maryland. I worked at Johns Hopkins Children's Hospital, Philadelphia, and I've been back up here for the last 7 years at NAVAC Ambulance in North Syracuse. So, started last week, so kind of trial by fire.
This is his first ever council meeting in this role, so be easy on him, everybody.
Well, the fact that he's already spent a week and came back says a lot.
That's what Lee said. That's exactly what Lee said. Thanks.
He rode with you all the way up here.
Kobe, why don't we start with you and go around that way to do some introductions, please.
All right. Kobe Brooks, I'm the Business Development Manager for the Life End of New York program, representing, for this meeting today, representing Watertown and Pottstown.
Justin Astafan, Chief of Operations, Lewis County Search and Rescue.
Paul Trelane, Crogan Fire, and Lewis County Search and Rescue.
Kristen Mead, Beaver Falls Fire, and I also work in Jefferson and St. Lawrence County.
Bob McKenzie, Director of Fire and Emergency Management in EMS, Lewis County.
Ron Smith, Jefferson County, and also soon Chair of the Council.
David Allen, Lewis County Search and Rescue.
Mary Kleinhans, Jefferson County.
Dave Sherman.
Charlotte Brown, Director of EMS for Jefferson County.
I'm Art Garno with SUNY Canton, with the core sponsor for St. Lawrence County. Jim Dews, hi.
Debbie Paul's on.
Larry Gerard, Falzon Rescue, Mobile Fire, in Jefferson County.
I'm still Ann Smith.
As hard as she tried to change.
Thank you.
Carol Metcalf, Potsdam Hospital ER and EMS Board Chair.
Ron Hance, Starlight EMS and St. Louis County.
Joe Goss, Fort Drum Regional Health Plan.
Hi, Jim Barr again.
Silent but deadly.
Yes.
Bobby Simpson, Jefferson County.
Nice meeting all of you. If you could just carry those signs everywhere you go.
Okay, moving on to correspondence, enforcement list. Michael Elbron Rada from East Elmhurst, New York, suspended for 1 year, effective 3/30/16. The suspension is stayed. Assessed a civil penalty of $2,000. Of that amount, $1,750 is suspended for violations of Part 800.16A7. Christopher Jenkins from Hammondsport, New York, suspended for 3 years, effective 3/30/16. The suspension is stayed. Placed on probation for 3 years, effective 3/30/16. Assessed a civil penalty of $2,000. Of that, $1,500 is suspended. Allowed to recertify at the BLS level only. Violations of Part 800.16C. And Joseph Smeglinski from Oswego, suspended for 1 year. Suspension is stayed for 3 years, effective 3/14/16. Assessed a civil penalty of $2,000. Part 800.1610. Also received a letter from Joe Farrell from Department of Health in Albany, notifying us that Feltzmill Volunteer Fire Company has received a BLSR, and they have their ATC code, and it's valid until May 31st, 2019. And a letter from Daniel Clayton from Albany to Krogan, acknowledging receipt and accepting the permanent surrender of Krogan Fire Department to operate their ambulance. And we have a certificate of appreciation from the Messina Volunteer Emergency Unit to Regional Emergency Medical Services Council. In gratitude and appreciation of your invaluable support, we couldn't do it without you. Awarded 16th day of April 2016. We can pass that around. Take a look at that. Also, we received an email from Lee Burns. This was dated in May, I think May 11th. Sadly, as of today, we've only received 9 of your regional EMS award nominations, and asking that they get in. Ours was one of the 9 in, and we identified some miscommunication The website said one thing, the forum said another, and people called were told a different thing. So they recognized some problems and they indicated it would be addressed for next year. And did you have any other communication? SEMSCO and CMAC, that should say Jim Beavers.
Everybody should have gotten an email on the minutes from the state council. I'm going to just hit a few highlights, a little different from the REMAC meeting. The big concern from the staff report was the leaving of a copy of the patient care report or a drop form with patient information at the receiving facilities, whether on inner facilities or emergencies. Apparently, this is a problem statewide. So when you drop off your patient, you should leave some type of documentation. I want to remind that a couple of years ago, we have a regional drop form that we developed in this and our council approved it, so agencies could leave it at the hospital, because a lot of the agencies were on electronic PCRs and the hospitals couldn't receive it at that time. Also, I didn't mention this at the last meeting because that's a different meeting, but the state has expressed that they would like to have agencies that have an email address that's permanent, is not a member base. What they've had is they've had agencies that have an email address, but when that person leaves, so does the email address. They want agencies to have a permanent email address so they can, in a timely fashion, email information that is important to every agency. So that's something as a region we should work on, that every agency, not an individual, has an email address. On the bright side of EMS, because we should look at the positive a lot, is that at the EMS memorial, there was a record number of EMS vehicles from agencies there in attendance. There were 6 people put on the wall this year. They already got 3 for next year. And being part of the committee that established that with Ron Simmons many, many years ago, it's important that we have representation there from everybody that can possibly do it. As far as training and ed, a couple, they have removed policy statement 97-04, and that has to deal with mask pants, and that has been removed out of the BLS protocol. And out of the State Trauma Advisory Council is hyperventilation head injury. They're going to be taking action on that soon and remove that. As far as training and ed, another positive thing is the state is going to be doing in-house printing of certificates, and you should, from the date of test until in hand, the target date is 14 days. That's significant. Those of us that remember many, many years ago when we took a level 3 written exam, it was 90 days before we received it, right, Mr. Morrissey? And to go down to 14 days, that is very, very good. And I'm very happy about that. I think we got to look that there's a lot of positive moving forward. Another thing, if you look on the training and ed, a discussion took place regarding the future of the EMT critical care curriculum. There is a committee established, and as far as training and ed, it's Debbie and I are on it with some other people. Debbie Singleton's on medical standards with it. So we have good representation, and we're going to look to upgrade the curriculum and do the necessary enhancements that is needed to keep the curriculum there for right now. I handed out at the previous meeting, but if some people wanted, they have done revisions on 800.22, which deals with ambulance manufacturing. I have the draft of it. It just went to Legal Affairs Office to do the proper language on it. And we're also, just to let you know, that we're working on the red lights and siren policy, which is 7 pages long. I have a copy of what is the recommendations for that. One of the things we're really concerned about is safety on the call. And the safety should be from the minute you leave the building until you get back. Not just on scene size up and safety. It should be a continuous thing. And also be safety when we do training in-house or in classes. We don't want anybody hurt. And also we should make our awareness level high because of concerns about violence and criminal activities against EMS providers. Look what happened in Maryland and some of the other states. And we're not exempt from violence toward us, and we need to just keep our guard up. If anybody else got any questions, feel free to talk to either Debbie and I. I didn't mention it, but I should mention it. Both Debbie and I, we did the research, and they told me last year that I had hit my term limits. And actually, I questioned it. I said I thought I had one more term. It turned out that I do have another term, and it goes until December 2017. So that changes what we voted on last April, May, Debbie, as far as sending up two recommended people to be vetted. So just let you know, they got to put up with me for 2017, Lord willing, and I don't have my big one. That's the end of the report.
It's going to get lost from the dementia first, so.
I'm smarter than you, Mark.
When we get into new business, we'll cover something here to do with the critical cares.
Debbie, do we need to modify motion from last meeting on vetting?
I sent the letter in, but they never came back and said
why they didn't respond until we questioned them on it. Then they said, well, you still had another term. You were right. It was a mistake on their end.
That's because he was on the council before they wrote the bylaws.
He was on the council before. Ain't that the truth, bro?
I sold the granite to pay the bills.
And REMAC and program agency, please.
Just as a follow-up to that, we probably should start now because it'll take longer than 2017 to get his replacement when he is truly done vetting. So we may want to continue that process.
Make it a family tradition.
The names that were voted on here, so that was submitted in, so.
We can resubmit those too.
So I'm going to do this kind of together. So first thing, for those of you who may not know, our offices did move again. We moved to the second floor in the building at 120 Washington Street, so you don't have to claim 5 flights of stairs, only 2, or you can use the elevator. We completed our third quarter report a little late due to the conference, but it was completed. Received payment for our third quarter as well, and we're now in the final quarter that ends June 30th. We completed the regional training template with the assistance from the course sponsors. I'll throw it up on the screen real quick. I know you can't see that, but that's what we look at, the 2015 data that DOH provides. And then I work with the course sponsor for the projected number of students under each level of care that they feel they're going to put through and for 2017 to 2018. If anybody wants more detailed information, feel free to contact me and I'd be happy to send that to you. We had no PAD, Epi, or albuterol applications that came through since our last meeting. There's a seconded motion to this group from the REMAC to approve Carthage Area Rescue and Star Lake Fire and Rescue for BLS CPAP.
So a seconded motion to approve Carthage Area Rescue and Star Lake Fire and Rescue for BLS CPAP.
Make the motion.
I'll make the motion.
It's a seconded motion. So any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
So Narcan, I have no new applications for BLS and Narcan, but I did complete a report on just Narcan uses in general to the state, and our data is terrible. I know that there's been a lot more uses than what we were able to pull. Less than half of our agencies are electronic. But even pulling the data from the electronic agencies, I don't think that it may have all been in there. So please make sure for your agencies that you look and see if your medication administrations are being documented correctly, and that that data is data that uploads to the New York State Bridge, because that's what we use to pull our data from. Paper PCRs, it's a matter of reviewing each and every one separately for all the agencies who continue to do paper. ALS inspections, I reported previously that we had done an ALS inspection on Cape Vincent. We were awaiting a plan of correction, which we're still awaiting, but we did meet with them. We talked about a lot of issues, including their response times, etc. Or ability, I should say, to be able to get an ambulance out. They understand that they have an issue. They have somebody new overseeing EMS now. Roger Dowling is back at the realm. He's going to work on correcting issues. One of the other big issues was we weren't getting any of the PCRs to our office. And they're still on paper PCR, so that was a huge concern. That's been rectified. Hopefully moving forward we won't have that problem again. But I do know that they're addressing the other issues as well. Along with getting my letter done for their plan of correction. Upcoming inspections, South Jeff was scheduled for tomorrow, but I need to reschedule that. North Fork, Harrisville, Star Lake, Beaver Falls, Lions Falls are all on the agenda for this month. I reported this last time. Nothing has changed. These are agencies without narcotics. EPCR agencies are all the same. I reported that last time. Lewis, as Debbie said, Krogan had surrendered their operating certificate, and the BLSFR that we had on record did not obtain a BLSFR agency code, so that changes their stats a little bit, so I threw them up on the screen. They have 8 transports now, and no BLSFRs. Spring Fling will report more on it. I believe it's on the agenda down further. So, it was successful, even though attendance was down a little bit. We believe it's because spring break. We were the week of spring break, which has never happened that way before. It's 6:30 on the 9th of this month. I'll be doing an Narcan training with Colton Pierpont. I apologize to the St. Lawrence County folks and other agencies. I did not get that advertised out, but anybody is welcome. I've had a request to do a PCR and BLS CPAP at Star Lake and Morristown for Narcan. I'm working on scheduling all of those. And they will be open up if anybody's interested. The Excellence in EMS for that multidisciplinary call in Lewis County that we approved at the last meeting. Bob McKenzie graciously presented that at their responder appreciation night. Kurt made the certificates for all the departments, and Bob gave them out, so thank you, Bob McKenzie. Comes forth as a seconded motion from the REMAC to change Madrid Rescue's medical director from Dr. Tulloch, who is retiring, to Dr. Heiss.
So we have a motion for a new medical director for Madrid Rescue, that being Dr. Heiss. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
We received a letter from SUNY Canton to endorse them for an agency code for VLSFR, so I bring that forth as a seconded motion from the REMAC for the REMSCO to endorse SUNY Canton to work towards obtaining a VLSFR agency code.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Okay, changes to the provider credentialing manual. Everybody received that via email. That comes forth as a seconded motion to approve with the addition, with fixing a little bit of punctuation and the addition of, what was it, Debbie?
Can't bill.
You can't bill agencies can't bill if you utilize a non-credentialed advanced provider on a call. So it's just information for them, which is new and affects more of our providers, and also to remove the requirement of photo ID.
Any questions? All those,
A comment just to make sure if a provider is providing care on an ambulance without the REMAC blessing, that's a Part 800 issue that ought to come my way.
Well, that's already in there.
Yeah,
That's
that's
already in there
got it.
that they can't.
yeah, this is,
But this is in addition to that.
Thank you.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
So that, there was also a discussion on CME evaluators and the need to look at that program. So that will be coming down the line. They will probably, the list has folks on it that are expired or that have moved out, and there's actually no way to remove, there's no process in place to really remove anybody. And there's really not a process other than the agency recommendation for verification of skills or anything of that CME evaluator. And I will tell you that there's lots of discussion out and about this. CMEs are being pencil whipped, if you will. So we'll start looking at those issues. I mean, there will probably be some changes as to who can evaluate CMEs and how that is done.
And is that something that you would want some help doing, probably with some people from each county, or do you want to just do it yourself in the office?
Oh, no, I'm asking for any input for this, so please share any input on these programs. And again, we haven't even figured out the process for me to answer that question, but I'm assuming that this is more than a one-man show for this. There was discussion on the BLS 12-lead policy statement that came out, the first policy statement of the year, which is not on their website yet, but was sent out. And what it was is a policy statement that would allow the region to bless, if they meet the criteria, 12-lead acquisition and transmission by BLS providers, no interpretation involved in that, because our ALS folks aren't all up to snuff with transmitting these. It was tabled and postponed until such a time that all the ALS agencies are able to transmit and then move forward working with BLS. There's also discussion regarding the number of agencies that each of our medical directors have. There is a policy statement out there recommending that each medical director should only have 10 agencies. We kind of like to stay within that realm, but did identify that one medical director had 13 agencies, so we did make a motion to approve that medical director to continue to have more than 10 agencies. As noted, could be done by the policy statement. With that said, I think that I am complete with the REMAC Program Agency report. Any questions?
questions for Ann? Executive committee, we have not had a meeting. We will be meeting to work on the committees. We had a couple committees that a lot of people signed up for, and then some that nobody signed up for. So we'll be doing some jockeying there. Moving on to training and ed, Debbie.
Training and education met. We have SUNY Canton's core sponsorship renewal again. Doesn't 2 years go by fast. I'd like to thank Art Garno, who was on training and ed, and the hard work that they have done to get this short form. This time they only had to do the short form, and it's very nice having him sit on our committee. And we're going to bring a seconded motion forward. We do have a couple contingencies on that. In the short form renewal, they only have to send in any changes from the last renewal. And the changes that they had that they updated for this renewal was a list of their CICs and CLIs and where the courses are going to be held this fall. If you remember, 2 years ago, they did the long form. We were waiting on affiliation agreements from the hospitals and from the EMS agencies, and we didn't get those. So I talked to Art and I told him that those were, they're getting them in, but that is a change so that they would need to be completed for this renewal. He brought all of the hospital affiliation agreements except for 2 hospitals they're waiting on, and he thought that they just had to do updated preceptor forms of preceptors for the EMS agencies, but I said he also needs to have affiliation agreements for the EMS agencies too. So he's going to go back and work on getting those. So what we are bringing forward is a seconded motion. And I do appreciate John being here, so I can always go to him and make sure I get it right. Seconded motion from Training and Education to approve SUNY Canton's core sponsorship renewal with the contingency that they send the rest of the hospital affiliation agreements and all of the agency affiliation agreements with an updated list of field preceptors. That is our seconded motion.
Any questions on Canton sponsorship?
I don't have questions, I have comments. If you want to entertain comments. I'm in St. Lawrence County. I've been part of a few EMS agencies in St. Lawrence County. I know a number of the instructors in St. Lawrence County.
Can you speak in the mic? I can hardly hear you.
And I've had conversations as of late with some of the instructors through the program, and they all say good things about you. The problem is they don't believe that the college as a whole is going to continue to support the program because of the failed state that it has been in for several years. I had a conversation with one of the instructors a couple of weeks ago who had concerns due to the classrooms constantly moving and the fact that the equipment and training supplies are disconnected from the classroom and there's no way for them to get them over there. That has constantly been a challenge over the years with the course, where it's been, moving it from classroom to classroom, having it partnered with other courses that are ongoing that is disruptive to the program. So I have no doubt that you will probably support the program to the best of your ability. But from talking with the folks that are going to be teaching there, they don't have the confidence that the college is going to support the program the way it needs to be supported. And that while your intentions may be good, you may not be in a position to ensure that the college is doing everything that they can to make sure that the program is going to be successful in the future. The concerns that I bring forward are talking with some of the instructors that are already there, and because of that, I cannot support continuing the program at SUNY Canton.
The situation at SUNY Canton is that the upper administration of the college has committed to maintain this program and support it because they feel there's a needed outreach to the county and to the agencies in the area for training from our chief financial officer. And I report to the provost now. They're both committed to this program being successful. The program over the years has cost the college a lot of money. They've put a lot of money into this program and not recouped all that it costs to run the program. It is a state university. It has several programs in place. There's very few programs that have, classrooms dedicated. Some of the programs have labs dedicated to them, but classrooms are always shared. And we are working now to consolidate between the Crest Center, which I manage, and the Neville Dine Engineering School, which is just below the hill for me, to have the classes in those areas. All the supplies are being consolidated to either the Crest Center or a storage area in Neville Dine, and they will be handy for instructors. That doesn't mean that an instructor won't have to plan and ask for equipment and ask for help to get it set up for a training, which is somewhat standard for any instructor in any program. If you have to store things and you need help getting out for a certain number of classes or whatever, you have to plan on that and ask for it. We have instructors that are very committed to the training program, but are very set in their ways, and things do change. And there's a lot of people that don't like change, and not only in education, but in every aspect of life. Things change, and we have to learn to deal with that and work with that. And the college is willing to support the program and maintain it, but we have to have the support of those instructors as well. And some of those instructors have strong personalities, and we're trying to work with them and make them understand that we're willing to work with them if they're willing to work with us.
Thank you.
We did have the discussion at our last St. Lawrence County Board, and all of those questions and all of those perceptions were presented to us also about having to find equipment, and then maybe the equipment you might need, you didn't need at the time you asked for it, but you might need it during the program, the teaching portion. And it was a consensus really that, the college is a...
Carol, like I said, we have to have cooperation from the instructors as well as the college to work together on this problem. We moved one of the programs up to the Crest Center, and we brought the equipment up that they needed for the training. And the night after that training, I went and looked in the closet that was supposed to be stored in, and the instructor and the students had just thrown everything in there in a pile. So we have to have cooperation both ways, and these are issues that we have to work with, but we have to work as a team, and the instructors need to think about that we are trying to make sure that the EMT program has a home now. Part of the Crest Center, which we concentrate on non-credit training and workforce development training, so it has an oversight and someone that's going to look after its needs. We can never guarantee everything will be perfect for everyone, but we're willing to try to make it a good program and work with the instructors.
I think what they're hoping for is that when they're having classes, that it's a compact area where you've got the equipment in the area that you're going to be also teaching in, so that you're not having to think ahead necessarily.
Yep. We've got like 5 classrooms that we're going to schedule in Neville Dine for the training down there, and we have the storage area in there.
Is that the old one that we used to always be in?
The same end of the building.
Where we had the...
Yeah, it used to be up in the north
right.
end of the building. We're going to be in the south end now. We have a multi-purpose room and a storage room in that multi-purpose room. And the equipment that's needed can be put there for the duration of the class. We can't store all the EMT equipment there, but if they let us know ahead of time what's needed, there's areas to keep it for the class duration.
I think the biggest thing that we would be looking at, especially for the instructors and the students are going to be going there, whether they get their basic there and hopefully move up through the ranks, is stability in the program. And the stability in the program hasn't been there. Every year, the program is being shuffled around to a different part of the college, and I know the instructors don't like that. And you said that things are going to change, and that the instructors have to be able to adapt and change with it. But there also, I think, needs to be some stability with the program. And perhaps, like you're saying, they took the equipment and threw it in a closet or left it in a disarray. perhaps that's the way that they feel about the program being at the college.
Well, if they really feel that way and don't want to respect the program or the equipment, then they probably shouldn't be an instructor anymore. I'm all for working with everyone to make this a good program, but if people really have come to the point where they don't want to be part of it or part of the team, we need to find those that will be part of the team and work with us.
Right, or the option is...
Help this grow. We've got to move forward is what the situation is. Yeah, there's history there. There's history on both sides, from some of the instructors, from some of the administration. If we want this to be successful, we got to start here and move forward. And the instructors, as well as everyone here, needs to support the program, as well as I'm going to try to support it through my department and the upper administration of the college.
Right, and I understand that, and that's not the only option. There are other options. There can be other core sponsors to take over the program if one arose. So SUNY Canton isn't the only option available. There are other options. If somebody steps up and says they would like to be the core sponsor, and
What we're voting on here is a renewal.
No, I'm just saying, correct, I'm just saying, there are other options in the future. This isn't an end-all, be-all, it's only SUNY Canton, is what I'm saying.
Call the question.
Yeah.
So we have a seconded motion from Training and Ed to accept their core sponsorship with the, what's the correct terminology?
Contingency.
With the contingency that Debbie read. Do you want this to be a roll call vote so that we can record people's responses?
Yes.
Mr. Secretary, we need a roll call vote.
David Allen,
Aye.
Justin Astafan,
Abstain.
James Barr,
No.
Craig Ballard. Oh. Charlie Brennan. Yes. Jim Devers. Mark Devers.
Yes.
Debbie Foltz.
Yes.
Larry Gerard.
Aye.
Ron Hands.
Yes.
Mary Kleinhans.
Yes.
Walt Lehman.
Aye.
Bob McKenzie.
Yes.
Kristen Mead.
Yes.
Carol Munch.
Yes.
Dave Sherman, yes. Bobby Simpson.
Yes.
Debbie Singleton.
Yes.
Ron Smith.
Yes.
Yes, 1 no, 1 abstention. Motion passed.
carried. Other training in that, Deb?
No, that was it. I just want to make,
No, I'm talking about overall and.
oh, I can, that was a separate, that was a rematch.
But I think what we discussed it here last.
I want to just add one thing as the chair of training and education, for I don't know how many years, 10, 15 years or whatever, and having all the core sponsorship renewals every 2 years, and being intimately involved in SUNY Cans from day one to where we are now. And I just want to add that I really think we need to give them a chance. It's a whole new leadership now. And as a training and ed, I have offered and extended my hand to help them and assist them in any way possible to see that they can meet their goals and objectives. And if people do have concerns, then they need to come to the REMSCO and let us know. But I'm here to support them and to assist all core sponsors. On the albuterol and the blood glucometry, we were a committee of the REMAC to review the whole albuterol and blood glucometry, the PowerPoints, the tests, the practical skills exams, the policy statements, the provider agreements. And we did. Howard Rieger, Jim Devers, and myself went through all of those and met and went through them all. And then I met with Ann, and we sat down and we made all the changes and things. The only thing we have left to do is the blood glucometry PowerPoints. We just need to tweak them, and then all of that will be completed. And Ann will be sending those out for review so that we can vote on those. We have that.
Okay, any questions for training and ed? CON, Ron.
3 items. Carthage Rescues contacted the office and myself about CON questions. Don't know where it's going. I've tried to return the phone call. I had personal matters to deal with today, so I didn't get to try to get back to him today. He was off last week, so I will try again. Next item. This should have been done last meeting, but circumstances prevented it. We need to renew the CON prices that we charge for a full CON. It's $6,500. It's the deposit. What's unused gets returned to the applicant. For transfers, that's name change, stock transitions, all of that. That's a $1,000 deposit. Clarification territory, or COT, is a $1,000 deposit as well. Since the committee didn't get back to me, I guess I will make the motion that we approve the renewal of these prices.
Second.
So we have a motion to keep the prices where they were for last year. And I know we just had done Lewis counties and there was money to go back from that 6,500, correct, Dave? So it's not that we're running into problems and having more expenses than what we take in for those funds. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
The last item I have is I pass around a sheet that I would like to see posted on the website of stuff that was approved by the council a few years ago. The review sheets that we're using and everything, and the policy statement is the same as it was back then. I'm told that they're working on changing that 0606 to something new, but until it happens, I want to go with this. The big thing is the timeline. It's the same total amount of days between the 0606 version and this one, but it gives us, the review committee, more time to review it, and we need that time, being a volunteer group. This was taken from the previous document that the state had of 9310. I want to see this sheet along with the prices posted on the website. We need to be posting some additional CON stuff. Circumstances behind the scenes for me have not been good the last several months. So I haven't gotten to deal with all this.
Any questions?
Ron, you're talking about important CON information.
Yeah.
It says 577 was approved. I'm just thinking
That's the
that,
date.
We'll fix the date before we post it.
Yeah. It had been 5707.
got it. Thank you.
I can correct that so it's more clear before we post it.
It just threw me a little off.
I can correct that. That's no big deal.
No, I just
Fix the dates.
That's cool. That's just
Being you had a question, I'll fix the dates before it gets posted. On the electronic version.
Somebody else will have it too.
Anything else, John?
No, Ron. Wonderful.
Now, let me ask you, this policy draft that we sent out, does that change this? There's no change today if they implement this policy draft that we sent out to everybody.
Nope. If something does come down the pike as far as an actual draft, then we'll have to deal with it. That policies, that draft that you spoke of is one area, and I haven't received any email back on that either. Maybe John can enlighten me.
I can tell you that Dana's father passed away unexpectedly last week, so.
Okay, so then that's why he didn't respond. The request was to Dana. The one area of concern in that draft was for transfers, there is no public hearing, no public input, but yet they want publicity, they want to use a backdoor approach of getting public input, which sounds like playing politics with the whole thing, and I'm sorry, but I'm not into politics on this.
All right.
If you need to have the thing posted, as far as legal notice in the paper, and I understand we're supposed to be doing that as a council, the way that thing read, and I doubt that we're doing that legal notice. Am I right?
Okay.
I have no problem with that legal notice, but to be mailing letters to people, I got a problem with that.
All right. Let me try to do this in 2 minutes or less, and maybe perhaps next committee meeting we can really sit down and I'll give you the whole history of this.
Sounds like politics, John.
No, not really. Originally, Article 30 said after July 175 that all CON transactions had to have public notice, and that regional council meetings could be where they were done. And frankly, the early history, it was always done at regional council meetings. And they would move the regional council meeting to the locale of wherever the CON happened to be having, and so forth. In our society today, in electronic media and so forth, that has not fallen true, as you well know. They've moved them and done a variety of things. But there's a requirement in the code, and there have been a couple of administrative law judges' opinions, which is stated you have to give notice to the public you're taking action on something. Because the fitness and competency thing could come from the general public as well as, and you would pass that on to the Department of Health that we may have missed and so forth. Your council meeting is a public meeting. Right. But for this case, you have to advertise this as part of your agenda for that, and that's the requirement for any of these. That there has to be there, or else it becomes an appealable item, which, as you're well aware, have been contentious points over the years on CONs. The lack of public notice.
We've never had a transfer appeal.
Yes, but let me offer that multiple new ones, it has been appealed over those sort of technicalities.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay.
We have it.
I understand, but in the state...
As I said, I have no problem with a public notice in the newspaper to satisfy that. I have no problem putting it on our website. But when we get the mailing notices...
Right.
I think we're getting too far.
Yeah, here. Let's deal with this in the next committee meeting.
Well, we need to let Dana get back to us and respond to Ron, and then we can share those comments with everybody. I don't know if anybody else had any comments that when I put that out, I said you could either send them direct or I would collate them all and send them. I don't know if anybody else had any input. If not, we'll just wait to hear back on Ron's. If you have something, let's get them together.
Because I didn't have it in front of me, I pulled it up, and I'm reading it, that thing on public notice. And regional council shall have a process in place for public notification. As this is not a new CON or expansion of territory, a public hearing is not required as needed previously been established. The public, however, needs no notice of the transfer occurring. It's a notification is all they're doing. They're putting it in writing that you need to make sure you make your notification. And that's how I read it. It doesn't say that you have to have a public hearing.
Correct, but that your meeting is in lieu of it can be in lieu of, and that's where input could come into it. Again, the issue is the law is silent on what that notification is in terms of appeal and so forth, and so consequently the standard has been you do the written notices out with the registered mails and so forth, so that way there is notice of it that it's occurring.
On the transfers, I believe this policy statement said notifications, if you want to notify individual agencies, can be done just by first-class mail.
And I think you're right about that.
And if that's the case, that should be billed back to the client, and there's, I believe, plenty of cushion built into these transfer costs to cover any mailing that we would incur. Plenty of cushion.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it. I'm more concerned about the labor that goes into putting that out.
Okay. Tell you what, again, Debbie said it earlier, I think it's a great thing. Let's let Dana respond, and, certainly we'll get the committee together, we'll figure it out, we'll bring Dana on a conference call, or Dan, or however we need to get those definitive answers.
So are folks in favor of getting this posted on the website so that information is there? This comes as a motion from the CON committee to post this data. Are there any further discussions on posting of the CON information on the website so that if anybody is looking to do one, that we can direct them to how our process is, since it is different?
That also would include the cost to be posted as well.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So carried.
Thank you. We needed that done for the last one.
Anything else, Ron? Anyone?
No, that's all. I will try to get, as time permits and circumstances permit, I will try to work on the other issues that need to be done for that website. And there are many.
Kobe, could you give us an air medical report, please?
Do you want requests or completed plans?
Whatever you've got.
Both. In the quickest form.
All right. For Jefferson County, for the month of May, there were 32 requests, 9 in Lawrence County, and 6 in, or Lewis County, I'm sorry, and 6 in St. Lawrence. Completed, 8 in Jefferson, 2 in Lewis, and 1 in St. Lawrence. Maybe that's a standard testimony.
Has there been an air medical meeting?
No, I hadn't heard as to when one was going to be scheduled.
Very good. County reports. Charlie, Jefferson County.
Scratch rates for last month were not too bad. Overall, county had a 2.6% scratch rate. The year-to-date is 2.3. We still have a couple agencies that are bell ringers. We had one of the 46% scratch, another with 41%, and a third with 25%. So those agencies need a fleet somewhere. EMS Day at Fort Drum I see you have later, but there is some movement on that. I'm supposed to be meeting with the folks at Mystic later this month to nail down some of the details, and I know we talked about funding in January, so we should be all set for that. Fort Drum is planning a full functional drill sometime in August, and the date escapes me. I can't remember the date right now, but more information on that will come out by email. And on the 30th of this month, Slack Chemical is hosting a tabletop drill regarding their facility and how things should work at Cincinnati, their facility. And Slack is doing the planning and will be the ones inviting the participants.
Any questions for Charlie? Carol, can you do St. Lawrence County?
We're continuing to try to boost our own board up a little bit better. In May, we appointed our committees again, which we haven't had for a few years. So everybody has been appointed to some task, 3 to each of the 4 committees. And we have 4 new towers coming up to help with the communications that seem to always be a problem. Leadership meetings, the last one was in June 6th, and they continue to be an asset to the EMS community, and they had hospice there the last meeting. And we're going to try and reactivate our meetings that we have with the hospitals where they provide teaching days or teaching hours to help EMS gain more education and also their CMEs. And that's about it. We did our scratch rates, but I don't have those with me. So things are better. I think we're getting more on our board and more interest and more involvement. So it's coming along good.
Can I add one quick addition? I was unable to attend the advisory meeting, or the state meetings. But the leadership meetings, I've been advised that there was a conflict for our next meeting, which will be this month, as far as the location. And, you know, I'm pleased to announce that I've spoken with Art Garno, and he's agreed to let us do them at the Crest Center. And we also thought that that was a great opportunity for SUNY Canton to talk about, you know, the course sponsor, to look for interest in providers becoming CLIs, and also some of the changes, you know, like in regards to payment for folks that come and help out with class, which I believe are going to be a huge benefit as they move forward with a course sponsor. So I will be announcing that here in the next few days out to the leadership group, but I think that that'll be a very important meeting for St. Lawrence County as well.
Same date, though.
I forgot one thing that probably bears mention here, and Kobe maybe didn't remember to mention it either. Fort Drum is going to change the way they respond to the ranges, because the unit that serves the ranges is being deployed. So I know Kobe and I are headed for a meeting on Drum a little later this month to discuss that. The upshot of that is the folks who surround, like Governor Search and Rescue, Indian River, those folks who serve those ambulance exchange points may see a little more activity later this summer around those exchange points.
More?
Sweet. Curb your excitement.
That's not really what you want to say.
You have a report from Lewis County.
Yep. As usual, it's not a whole lot going on. We're just finishing up the BLS class right now, trying to get geared up for the Lewis County Fair. We're trying to plan a fall BLS class, or dare I say two. Stand by for further on that one. And the known service dispatch that we put into place for all agencies is working well. As of the end of May, we had 3 calls that were scratched, and one of which was canceled, the other unit en route, and they did eventually mark en route. So we don't get exceptional high call volume, but something's working. So we're going to keep moving forward with that. I should have actual statistics and numbers by our next meeting.
How's your radio system working?
Don't ask. Growing pains. Growing pains.
It hurts.
Old business, spring clean. I did send out the surveys, the results from the surveys. Going to probably work with training and ed and take a look at this and see if there's some things that we should look at. If people have some additional knowledge and understanding, make sure they know what's available to them. Do you want to add anything to spring clean? Talk about the system.
The new system that we utilized was excellent, so thank you for approving and buying those scanners. I think it was well worth the cost, the time that it saved us in the office, and that it was just so much easier to track. It gives us a greater accountability for providers. It takes away the issues that we had when people would go to sign up for one program and go to another program. There was the benefits of the system were amazing. A few little things. The company was absolutely spectacular to work with. We asked them, if they had suggestions or anything, and they were right on top of it. For example, we had a vendor that put one extra zero on their $200 fee on their credit card, so all of a sudden their credit card was charged $2,000, and so I'm like, oh yay, we have another gold sponsor, and I emailed them to thank them, and they're like, we only meant to do the 200 general exhibit package. Help. how do we fix this? And I'm like, don't know. So the company was great. They were able to refund it, and but any little problem we had, they just worked great with us. So EMS scanning was spectacular. I plan that we use it next year. Hope that we're able to use it, and would like to budget it in for our spring fling at $495 a person. It's well worth the cost and the time it takes us to do certificates and track these people and all of that stuff. So, very nice.
It would be worth $40. With all that work.
Price will be going up. So, it was good.
Charlie already talked about the Fort Drum trauma training, so as soon as he has a date, we'll get something out to folks, let them know what it is. You're looking at September, right, Charlie?
Yeah, it's tentatively scheduled for
What?
September 24th. So you can ink that in, but don't etch it with stone yet.
Any other old business from the floor?
I do have one item.
One of the things we've asked Fort Drum, they're going to work hard on is figuring a way or a gate that all of us can come in, rather than have to go through the whole process of their gate process will take at least 15 to 20 minutes. So when the information comes out, I suspect that part of that process is going to be pre-registration. And if you don't pre-register, you probably ain't going on post that day. Okay? So they're pretty tight on who gets on and off. With good reason.
Yes, I just wanted to address, at the last meeting, we had discussed getting a letter from Art Garno in regards to joining the committee, in which I did get that letter. Because I wasn't at the advisory board to discuss it more, it appears that it got tabled at the advisory board. So that's something that we'll need to make sure that we stay on top of and move forward with.
I think that if I recall the last meeting, we agreed to do an email vote.
Okay.
It was table pending.
Pending approval, and then we would do an email vote and approval.
Okay. All right, thank you. I just wanted clarification on that, so I knew where we were going with that.
Any other old business? Moving on to new business. I have a serious request. When we send out the meeting, we ask you to RSVP to Kurt whether you're attending. Counting around here, there's a lot of people. 4 people RSVP'd that they would be at the meeting. So today I was playing the, do I cancel the meeting because 20-some people aren't coming? Take 2 seconds, just send an email to Kurt, say you're going to come or you're not going to come. We had 4 people that asked to be excused, but we only had 4 people RSVP that they were attending. Don't assume that Kurt knows you're going to be here. Take 2 seconds and send an email so we know you're going to be here. Because again, today I was talking to Ian and I was debating canceling because we had 4 RSVPs. And I had all that food made. So.
Short meeting and more food for me, I said.
So please, try to get, I think we asked for Friday, you know. I understand things may come over the weekend, but just give us a quick, yes, you'll be here, or no, you won't, because you've got a better offer, which I understand that. So. The next thing, the survey monkey, Ian, can we pull that up? I wanted to survey the critical cares in our 3-county region and also the agencies to gather some information as they talk about the restructuring of critical cares, the possible elimination or, you know, downgrading this to advanced EMTs or bridging you to paramedics. I really think it's important that we know where we're at with our region. So the questions that we developed for the individual survey, so these will go to our critical care techs in the 3-county region, is how long have you been a critical care tech? Are you actively practicing? How old are you? what agencies do you actively take call with? And as I told REMAC, I don't care that you belong to 36 agencies. If you only take call with one of them, then you take call with one of them. We don't want you to list 36 that you belonged at for your entire career and haven't been at since you got voted in. Do you plan on pursuing a paramedic? If yes, what time frame? If no, why? And then at the REMAC, they suggested we add a question of if a bridge program was offered or advanced standing, would you be interested in doing that? And
I added it and it disappeared, I thought. Sorry.
That's okay.
Go to the next one.
Are you in a research program? How many calls did you respond to in 2015? And how many calls to date have you responded to? And then to all the agencies, we're going to send a survey as well. How many miles does your agency cover? How many LS providers does your agency have? Paramedic, critical care, and AEMT. And then we added how many calls did each level take? How many, again, for all of 2015 and year to date? And if you do not have ALS available, how many miles is your closest ALS?
We added one to that too.
Yes.
What percentage of your calls are covered?
What percentage of calls by level of care, which is what I said, I just didn't say it that. And what type of service? Are you a commercial, independent, fire department, or a mixed breed? So what I'm asking here, folks, is we really need you to encourage your agencies and encourage your critical care to complete these surveys when they come out. Because it's very easy to sit in medical standards or CMAC or REMSCO with docs from New York City who, don't have a need for critical cares and have a hospital every, 4 blocks to say, is this program worth keeping? We need to be able to show how important it is to our region. And maybe this will show that it's not important to our region. And if people don't respond, and that's going to be the feeling is it's not important. So it's really critical that people complete this information for us so that we can get some good data to be able to share with the rest of the state on where we're at.
This isn't going to be just critical to the critical care providers, it's going to be critical to the agencies they belong with as well.
And the patients.
And it's, so it works, and the patients. It's a threefold benefit here.
So if you would, please, you will be notified as well when it goes out, so that you're aware that they have been sent out. But Carol, with your county, if you can kind of spearhead your agencies completing it. Bob, Charlie, if you can give us a hand on trying to encourage agencies to complete the data. And if you know critical care is making sure that they complete the data so that we can gather the information. My hope would be to have this done before the September State Council meeting so that we have that. I may actually do some charts and some full-size graphs to take so that it's more presentable and more outstanding on how important an impact it would have on our region. So
Not yet. I'll notify the whole committee once we get it out. We have to purchase the survey monkey and then we have to figure out how to have to make sure our questions are worded well so we get the right response. We might have to change up a couple words but the same meaning. So
I would suggest that the agency, first question, how many square miles does your CLN include? Some agencies run outside their territories quite a bit. Okay, so I cover 36 square miles of my CON. Because we're covering all the other agencies around us, we cover 150 square miles. So it should be the CON.
good thought. Agree?
You might want to put square miles, but that's okay, Ben.
Pardon?
You might want to put square miles versus, yeah, so.
So, that would be forthcoming. Any other new business?
Yes, Deb. I brought this up in the REMAC, but I didn't bring it up here. The New York State put out a survey agencies as to basically a quick formula what it costs per call. They're kind of showing that they're trying to attempt to increase the Medicaid reimbursement rates. And so it's really important that the agencies fill that out and send it back. And it gave a real quick formula of how to do it. Basically, it was how many, what your total operating expenses were divided by the number of calls you do. And it gave you an idea of what it costs per call. It's all explained out in the survey. If you got the survey and didn't send it in, fill it out and send it in. It's really quick. If you are concerned, try not to be. We're being assured it's going to be kept generic as best as possible. There's a lot of people concerned about proprietary information getting out there. This may be the only chance. I can tell you that I know that for the last 12 to 15 years, or even more than that, we've been fighting to get Medicaid reimbursements up, and New York State Department of Health is hearing it, and I really believe that the reason they're hearing it is because one of the largest, if not the largest, independent ambulance company in New York State folded. They filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 7 bankruptcy and folded. And among other reasons, one of the issues is not enough reimbursements to pay the people to keep working. We've been going after Medicaid for years. New York State's broke, but something needs to be done or there's going to be a lot more problems. So any ambulance agency should have gotten this, fill it out, and send it back. It came from Richard Brandt, New York State Department of Health. If you didn't get it, contact him, contact me. I will help you, but get these things back. Go back to your areas and get your agencies to fill them out. Ensure them that this is vital. It's not a joke. It's not something to pass by. It needs to be done so we can show New York State that people aren't just making it up. We're losing money every Medicaid patient we take. And I don't know about everybody else, but I know that my agencies were looking at 35 to 40% of our call volumes Medicaid. And with Affordable Care Act, more and more people are joining Medicaid. So it's truly an issue. And if we're going to say sustainable, it needs to be done.
I'm sorry, Todd, I never gave you a chance to give a report.
That's okay, I'll be quick. And by the way, echoing the same thing, we absolutely are looking at aggregate data, not individual data. It's secured. And some of you remember, I did neuromedical service, same way. We're using similar blinding for procedures for that. I'll be very quick. Lee Burns and I and Charlie and the Jefferson County Health Commissioner had a meeting here to discuss some ongoing issues of EMS and involvement in the new movement toward, not new now at this point, just movement toward expanded scope of practice and integration. I got to say that Lee and I walked away very impressed with the Jefferson County Health Commissioner's commitment to make this work and try, and she believes in it. She's taken a little bit of political on the nose, but she is a very big advocate for this, and we had a very positive meeting. Charlie, I just need to say that and tip our hat back. A couple of things. Part 18 events. For those of you who don't know what Part 18 events, anytime you have 5,000 or more, we have to issue a permit through the State Health Department related to EMS and emergency service planning. There are two things that are not in the code that we in my office will not issue a Part 18 without, at this point, without an active shooter plan or an improvised explosive device plan, we will not issue a Part 18. That's our standard, just putting everybody on notice. If you're giving me, we've had a couple, a Jefferson County Fair, the French Festival, I'm trying to think of some others, but we've had them there. Frankly, folks, it's just the day and time we're living in, okay? And it just makes sense from both a public health preparedness point of view, but just common sense. Now, by the way, just to make everybody clear here, I'm not looking for the law enforcement sensitive stuff, okay? I'm not looking, if there's a law enforcement sensitive plan, I don't want it. I just need to put somebody on letterhead telling me, yep, we've got it. That's all I care, okay? But we do want, an EMS needs to be talking to the law enforcement people about when one of these events happen, how is it going to work, the hot zone and all those different things for events like this. So it's something we need to all be aware of. PCRs at the ER. In the southern tier, a number of hospitals were cited for lack of having PCRs in the patient's charge by the Joint Commissions on Hospital Accreditation. For those of you who don't understand what joint commissions is, if you lose your joint commissions accreditation, you lose your funding stream big time. And they are not the minor sites, they are major sites because of the continuum of care. Folks, our policy statement is very clear that it should be filled out if you're doing electronic PCRs, and you at least should be doing the drop sheet, which this region was proactive a few years ago, put one in place. But you also should be scanning that into the record, the electronic record, to know what was left. Okay? And then the next piece of that is, okay, it shouldn't be showing up 2, 3, 4 a week later. And I can point to a number of cases. Now, yes, there have been some technological flaws along the way that prevented that from occurring in a timely manner. Most of the time, the toner ran out in the fax machine, or a variety of different things. But it's becoming a bigger and bigger deal, folks. And I will tell you that the hospitals are very concerned about this. And before other bad things happen, we need to really be watching this. I encourage the REMAC to consider it a standard QA issue for a while, just to make sure it's happening. So that's there. For those of you who don't know, St. Lawrence down in Oswego County has applied to, asked the Utica program to put a satellite distance learning of its paramedic program into Fulton, New York. That is been approved by the regional council down in the central sub-region, and the need studies are being done currently. Now, I need to point something out, just kind of tangential. We have not accepted any new applications for training centers. For how long, Deb? 5 years? Yeah. We're not approving new training centers. This is an expansion of other ones. So we as a health department are encouraging everybody to work with the local folks you have, okay? Now, as I heard this conversation, some of which I knew about, some of which I didn't. I'm the local, Mike and I are the local people. We're the first line of defense in dealing with the interface to central office on training and ed issues. So please, if there are issues, somebody needs to ring up my phone and say hi. And need to talk about those things, and let's figure those things out. Reimbursement.
Gotta go up, same as it's been for too long.
Well, Charlie, I get it, and that's a thing for state council. Charlie, I deal with the programmatic stuff.
Well, and what's going to happen is your existing core sponsors are going to reach the point where they can't afford to do it anymore.
Well,
I mean, it's getting close for us, I got to tell you.
No, I get it. And the reality of it is, here's the other thing. We are one of the last states to fund with state money EMT training. I may point that out to you. And that's another thing, that most ambulance services pay for it out of their reimbursement in other states, which that's a whole other, I don't want to get into the whole discussion of that, but other than to just say to you, sooner or later, we're going to be seeing funding evolve and change how it's done. And please don't read into that I know anything or there is anything on the horizon. I know nothing. But clearly, I think anybody who's been at state council budget meetings would agree that that drift has been out there for a while, and it's real. Okay. Last thing. I've been hosting now for about 6 months, 7 months, meetings of my 5 paramedic programs that work and do courses. My 4 prime are Binghamton, Utica, here in Watertown, and Syracuse. We included Finger Lakes because they send a number of their students up to Syracuse and in the Cortland and the surrounding mile. A lot of their clinical time comes out of my area. We've had some very good productive meetings, but the 3 big things I want to tell you about is this. One is, we will be publishing out a list that all those folks have agreed to become approved paramedic program preceptors. And they've done a reciprocity thing amongst themselves so that it's not because I got trained I'm okay for SUNY, but he isn't okay for SUNY, but he can do Faxton St. Luke's EMS. He's good for SUNY and Faxton St. Luke's EMS, but can't do Finger Lakes. It'll be generic across the board for everybody, which will make it a lot. And we're also going to have a centralized list, okay, of where you can go to find these preceptors, whether or not they're approved, and it'll be updated twice a year. Second thing we're doing is we're going to standardize the paperwork. Because part of the other problem is the poor preceptors go, this form looks this way, and there's no consistency in evaluation. And we're going to come up with a standardized form system to be doing that. The last thing we're working on, which will probably not happen for probably well into the fall, is going to be looking at advanced standing for allied health and also critical cares and paramedic programs. Now, just to be clear about what that means is, it means the following. The provider is going to come in and take divisional type exams for the appropriate sections of a paramedic program. And frankly, I don't care how you got the knowledge, I just care you got it. Okay? You're going to prove and test out of that, and they'll be sub-scored, and you're going to have to pass certain sub-scores as well. It's not going to be a walk in the park, okay? From there, what's going to happen is we've looked at the number of skills generically, and these are ballpark numbers. But there are around 120-ish skills in a paramedic program that are taught in terms of going through. And some of that can be as basic as starting an IV to positioning where 12-lead EKG electrodes go to interpreting different type rhythms and so forth. From there, what will happen is we're going to divide them into categories of trauma, medical, peds, and again, this is still conceptual, but in that sort of thing. And we're going to say, okay, there are 120 skills we identified. We're only going to test 60. Now, that 60, we're going to subset let's say trauma, there's 10. Well, we're going to test you on 5 of them. But you got to come prepared to deal with all. We're going to be skill sheets, so you'll know what they are to come in, and then you will test out for those. The thought is, it's so expensive to do that. It's been a problem in the past where training centers haven't wanted to do it because it's very expensive to go through the process. Now the thought is, well, if we have our 5 come together, we do one of these a year where we bring everybody in and you get trained and tested, and you're going to get the same deal no matter where you go. Now, you'll have your choice of a 2-year paramedic program, that's the same of your life, or you can do as short as a 9-month program to get that advanced standing. And so what will happen is it will allow you to get some better bang for your buck in terms of going through this. So that's tentatively where we're going. Andy Johnson, in concept, gets it. None of this has been set. I'm sharing with you concepts. This is not a done deal by any means, okay, in terms of its evolution when we go through it. But I think for a number of folks, it will allow some standardized, unbiased testing, and then we can move people up and down as needed accordingly. Thank you. Questions for us?
Any other new business?
You heard Dale's presentation earlier, and I indicated that basically all we want from this organization, speaking as we leave in a wide representative, is your support. And to that end, I'd like to make a motion that the REMSCO indicate via a letter to the Believe NNY that they support the efforts of the organization, that organization.
Make that in form of a motion.
Wake up, Jim.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Thank you.
Other new business?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I